Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with another episode of Total Breakdown. We've got yet another fantastic tournament battle from the Warhammer Fantasy League, with the Empire from Shetland Apache going up against the Tomb Kings of Iron General. As always, if you'd like to keep up to date with the tournament, make sure you follow the link in the description down below. We begin, of course, with talk of composition and deployment, and as you can see, things are downright insane in this battle. We're going to start with the Empire over here. Balthazar Gelt is in charge up in the air, and his front line, if we can call it that, consists of these two swordsmen. Right behind them, we have 3 units of Free Company militia here, and over here, but I don't think the Empire is planning on staying stationary. Most of this army consists of cavalry. We have these 2 units of Outriders, this unit of Outriders with grenade launchers, this unit here of Empire Knights, and back here 2 units of Knights of the Blazing Sun. Then to the right over here, we have a unit of Demigryph Knights with halberds, and the Royal Altdorf Griffites. These guys are anti-large and armor-piercing. They will do a lot of work to enemy constructs. On the other side of the field, the Tomb Kings are led by none other than Cetra, the Imperishable, atop the War Sphinx. Alongside him, we have another War Sphinx off to the right over here, and the front line here consists of 4 units of Tomb Guard. On either flank, meanwhile, we have the Skeleton Spearmen, anti-large capabilities. Though they aren't the strongest of units, they will perform well enough against some Empire cavalry, while we have back here 3 units of Ushapti, and these guys are anti-infantry and armor-piercing, very capable on those fronts. Finally, the Chosen of the Gods, Ushapti with Great Bow unit back here, acting as sort of an artillery piece, firing away from a great distance, hoping to get some damage done before lines meet. Now, like I said, things get pretty crazy in this battle, so let's take a look at how it all breaks down as the Empire turns over here, pushes in to get ready for some engagements, and the Tomb Kings as well, you can see off in the distance, turning around, getting ready for some engagements. Now, the Tomb Kings are in a very interesting situation. There's a lot of cavalry coming in from the Empire. They're all very fast, they're very quick, and the Tomb Kings don't have too much range support. They have the Chosen of the Gods, they're the Ushapti with Great Bow, which have great range, but apart from that, there isn't too much range capability. There isn't much that can shut down the Outriders over here as they run around with their speed of 84. But if the Tomb Kings are able to come in from multiple angles, they will be able to shut down all of this cavalry. You can see, slowly but surely, the Empire is sort of pivoting around here, happy to hold back with most of their army as these Outriders and the Outriders with grenade launchers push forward to explore. And you can see over here some great micromanagement as the Ushapti with Great Bow fire away. These guys sort of turn around and get multiple move orders to make sure that none of those shots actually land. Wonderfully done there. These Ushapti are trying to get some damage done, and almost, I think actually no damage was done in that first volley. Beautiful to see. Meanwhile, over here we've got these Outriders peeling forward, getting some shots, focusing in on that Hemrian War Sphinx, hoping to take care of that construct nice and early. It is, of course, very threatening. No matter what engagement it gets in, it also has some range capabilities, so trying to take that down before it does any work. And you can see over here, the Outriders, again, excellent micromanagement here, just zigzagging, moving back and forth, trying to avoid those shots from the Ushapti with Great Bow. So far, they only have 1 kill, so wonderfully done here by the Empire, making sure they keep their distance and they don't commit and stay put and eat a lot of damage as a result. Now you can see over here these Outriders firing away at the Ushapti over here. Again, another threatening unit, so might as well do that. While these Outriders have peeled off to the side, sort of pushing in for maybe some rear angles, but the Skeleton Spearmen over here rotating themselves as well, making sure that the Outriders aren't able to charge in and slow down the Ushapti with Great Bow. Over here on the right, Balthazar Gelt pushing forward, maybe looking for some opportunity to use magic or try to bait these Ushapti with Great Bow off to the side over here. And you can see these Outriders with grenade launchers seeing an opportunity over here as the Great Bows are firing back there. And again, excellent micromanagement, just dodging these shots, zigzagging, going back and forth. Beautiful to see. And so these Outriders with grenade launchers see an opportunity. They push forward, they fire their grenade launchers and get a little bit of damage done to these Tomb Guard over here. Again, these guys are going to do a lot of work against swordsmen, so might as well get some damage in early on if possible. They're densely packed. Those grenades will do a lot of damage. And off to the side here as well, you can see these Outriders just firing away at whatever they can hit, hurting some of these Tomb Guards now, while the Ushapti with Great Bow still only have the 1 kill to their name because of some excellent micromanagement. I'm going to stop pointing out how excellent the micromanagement is now, because I'll spend the entire battle talking about it otherwise. Back here, though, these Outriders, again, poking and prodding, trying to get some shots into the Skeleton Spearmen. These guys still firing away at the Ushapti over here. And now you can see as well, the Empire still sitting back here, not really pushing too aggressively. To the far left here as well, we've got the Knights of the Blazing Sun. They've pushed forward. They've positioned themselves so that if the Tomb Kings peel forward, they'll be able to engage from multiple angles. And you can see up front over here, these Outriders maybe pushed a little too close because these Ushapti were pulling back. I think they were not in guard mode, but just at the last moment there, pulled back so they didn't get engaged by these Tomb Guards. Wonderfully done, as these Ushabti with Great Bow continue to fire away at these Outriders with grenade launchers, and they pull back into some safety. And now we've got some attention focusing over here on these Outriders back here as they fire away into the backs of these Ushabti. We've got this Hemrian War Sphinx giving chase, the Spearmen giving chase, and the Great Bows as well firing away. But unfortunately, those Outriders are extremely fast, so they're not going to be able to close the gap, the Tomb Kings, unless they come in from multiple angles at the same time and really work hard on isolating these units and causing them trouble. So wonderfully done by the Empire, of course, making sure that these guys are on their toes, the horses are on their toes, so to speak, and responding very quickly. And once again, these Outriders with grenade launchers, seeing their opportunity, they push forward, they pop some shots off and get a little bit of damage done to these Tomb Guards once again. So again, great management there, great battlefield awareness as this War Sphinx ultimately decides to give up on the chase, pulls back, a little bit of range shots going on back and forth between these two, but the Outriders have definitely come out on top in that skirmish, getting a little bit of damage done. Again, that War Sphinx is extremely threatening, and now it looks like the Tomb Kings have finally lost all patience. They are pushing forward, finally playing a bit more aggressively, as is necessary in this situation, and the Knights of the Blazing Sun, again, pushing off to the side over there. These Demigryph Knights with halberds as well, being readied to push forward and get some charges in, while these Outriders with the grenade launchers continue to fire away as these Skeleton Spearmen slowly but surely close the gap over here. Of course, they don't want to get caught out by these anti-large units, and the Ushabti as well are very scary. If they pop into a charge, we also have Cetra right there atop the War Sphinx, so a very scary situation for these Outriders with grenade launchers, but playing cautiously here, pulling back into safety, while here as well these Empire Knights now pulling back into some safety off to the side. These Knights of the Blazing Sun looking for an opportunity to get some nice side and rear charges in, while these Outriders again giving chase, firing into the backs of various Tomb King units, and these Demigryph Knights with halberds and the Royal Ultra Griffites also looking for an opportunity to dive into any isolated large unit. They'll be more than happy to hit a War Sphinx in the back or to the side, but they have this obstruction over here. These Skeleton Spearmen, not too much of a problem though, as those spears are pointing forward, so these halberds are coming in from that right flank for a beautiful charge. Take a look at the amount of damage done here as these guys go charging right through the lines, catapulting these Skeleton Spearmen over the cusp of this little hill over here, doing a lot of work, not just to health, but more so to morale. And we've got the Royal Altdorf Griffites coming up from the rear as well, and they're going to do a lot of follow-up damage as well. That'll just absolutely destroy these Skeleton Spearmen here. Again, not just in terms of health, it'll cause a fair bit of damage, but in terms of morale as well. You can see right down to critical binding more or less right away there, and these guys do have to pull away, though. We have that Outrider with a grenade launcher unit firing away at some of these Tomb Guards, but they very quickly turn around alongside the Ushabti back here to try and cause some pain to those Demigryph Knights. Meanwhile, over here you can see we've got another great charge coming in from the Knights of the Blazing Sun, charging into these Tomb Guard as they turn around to respond to the charge, doing a lot of work there, but unfortunately that Hemrian War Sphinx is right behind as well, diving in to do some damage of its own, and ultimately the Knights of the Blazing Sun decide they don't want to get stuck in that engagement. Of course, they got a beautiful charge in, did a fair bit of damage to the Tomb Guard, but they do want to pull away into some safety and right away order to peel back into safety, while these Outriders continue to fire away, get a fair bit of damage done, but these Ushabti now are about to penetrate through this pseudo front line over here. You can see the swordsmen sent in to respond, but there's a giant gap here, and the Ushabti will be able to just plow right through these swordsmen. They do not give a damn about a couple people. They'll push right through and shut down the Free Company Militia. And the Free Company Militia, again, have created this sort of kill box over here, hoping to get shots in from multiple sides and do a fair bit of damage, while off in the distance you can see these Skeleton Spearmen are about to face another charge from the Royal Altdorf Griffites and the Demigryph Knights with halberds. Of course, the Ushabti there aren't going to have too much of a good time either. These guys, again, they're anti-large and armor-piercing, so the Ushabti need to be pulled back. So take a look at all this fire going down, causing a fair bit of damage to the Ushabti as they get ordered to chase down after these Free Company Militia here, hoping to cause a fair bit of damage. And over here, these Empire Knights as well pulled back to try and shut down the Ushabti charge over here, while all the way at the back over here, you can see these Outriders, maybe a bit of a mistake there. Some mismanagement going on. I don't think this was intentional, but these guys have charged right into these Skeleton Spearmen, and they're not going to have a good time. They put themselves in a very precarious situation. I think they were chasing after a different unit that went out of range, and they just decided to ride right into these Skeleton Spearmen. So an unfortunate situation there, while these Outriders continue to fire away at the War Sphinx. And over here, the Ushabti are about to get some magnificent magical support over here. In just a moment's time, in comes the Incantation of Desiccation, dropping melee attack and melee defense for all of these units. But unfortunately, the Ushabti are in a bit of a terrible situation. Despite Neru's Incantation of Protection keeping them alive, their morale is dropping. In come the two War Sphinxes. First comes the regular Hemrian War Sphinx, doing a lot of damage with a beautiful charge, and then Cetra the Imperishable right behind, following up on that charge, getting a lot of terror, activating right away on these Empire Knights, getting them to give up on the fight basically immediately. Over here, you can see the Ushopti are having a great time against the Free Company Militia, but in come the Royal Altar of Griffites and the Demigryph Knights with halberds, hoping to take care of the Ushopti there, and the Hemnian War Sphinx over here turns around and decides to dive into these swordsmen, and that's not the best idea whatsoever. We've got the Demigryph Knights with halberds, both units here, and they will cause a lot of damage to the War Sphinx, so the War Sphinx has to pull away and get into some safety, while over here we've got the Tomb Guard pushing in towards the Free Company Militia, hoping to shut those guys down once and for all, get rid of that range support, at least in infantry form if possible. You can see that the Free Company Militia holding their ground, firing away as that charge very slowly comes in and closes the gap. We do have these Knights of the Blazing Sun pushing in for a rear charge as well, while in the center over here you can see we've got Final Transmutation going down, hoping to cause a little bit of damage and finish off some of these units. You can see those Ushopti drop, the War Sphinx is taking a fair bit of damage, and the Tomb Guard as well taking some bad damage. Back on the left flank over here, this beautiful rear charge from the Knights of the Blazing Sun, shutting the Tomb Guards down as they engaged the Free Company Militia in melee. Again, the Free Company Militia just held their ground for a little while. They didn't really need to retreat, they weren't going to disintegrate, and in came that beautiful rear charge, throwing these Tomb Guards around, doing a lot of damage. Meanwhile, over here, these Free Company Militia firing away at the Hemnian War Sphinx as it tries to close the gap over here, gets a nice charge in, tossing these guys around. Those poor souls are absolutely dead. The War Sphinx just charges right through, comes back around for another charge, and you can see over here a little bit of mismanagement going on. The Tomb Guard are nicely engaged against the Free Company Militia. The Ushopti as well are pushing through. However, we have some Skeleton Spearmen just standing there. They should have been sent in right away against the Royal Altar of Griffites in there, who are currently tackling the Ushopti and Cetra the Imperishable. As you can see, the Ushopti are crumbling. Of course, they're against an anti-large unit. There's a lot of gunfire coming in as well from these Outriders, so they're not having a good time. But if those Skeleton Spearmen had pushed in, they'd give the Royal Altar of Griffites a bit of a tough time at least. So a bit of a missed opportunity there, as back here this War Sphinx gets hit by the Plague of Rust. In comes this Empire Knight unit as well, and that War Sphinx just charges right through and back into the Free Company Militia unit over here, just trying to take care of that range support. Back off in the distance over here, you can see these Knights of the Blazing Sun are finally shutting down the Chosen of the Gods, who ultimately had 14 kills to their name, and we've got some Outrider grenade launcher support coming in as well to these Skeleton Spearmen, hoping to scare these guys off. Back up front over here, you can see the Free Company Militia having a terrible time against the War Sphinx, while Balthazar Geltha is looking for an opportunity to provide some assistance here and there. You can see, though, in comes a Realm of Souls trying to keep the Tomb Kings alive. Free Company Militia here giving up on the fight. The Swordsmen as well, terrified now, giving up on the fight. You can see the Spearmen are closing the gap to these Royal Altar of Griffites, and the Royal Altar of Griffites, as a result, are having a terrible time in that battle, while over here these Outriders firing away at Cetra the Imperishable, hoping to take care of enemy leadership as quickly as possible, while this War Sphinx is in a bit of a tough situation, as the Knights of the Blazing Sun are causing a fair bit of damage alongside that range fire from the Free Company Militia. These guys as well now getting involved, focusing in on the Hemnian War Sphinx, doing a lot of damage. Neru's Incantation of Protection comes in for that physical resistance. Wonderfully played there, trying to keep that very threatening unit alive, but these guys are just persistent. They're going to give chase. They're going to try and shut it all down, while over here Cetra the Imperishable got a beautiful charge into the Free Company Militia over here, shutting these guys down more or less once and for all, kicking in that terror. Over here as well, you can see these Outriders with grenade launchers and without are in a bit of a tough spot, as these Skeleton Spearmen are poking and prodding. We have the Ushopti there as well, causing a fair bit of damage, and back there you can see the Ushopti with Great Bow, the Chosen of the Gods, I should say, are now being shot at into their backs by these Outriders, but the Knights of the Blazing Sun there have been taken care of by the Skeleton Spearmen as well as the Chosen of the Gods. And even though the Skeleton Spearmen are such a lowly unit, they can do a lot of work if used correctly, and this is exactly what I was trying to explain earlier. Up against the Knights of the Blazing Sun, they're not having too much trouble, especially with that extra support back there. You can see, though, up front over here, Cetra the Imperishable looking for an opportunity to dive in somewhere, while this War Sphinx as well just diving around, trying to cause terror and fear among these various range support units, hoping to take care of these guys, while up front over here, the Tomb Guard got rear charged by the Knights of the Blazing Sun as they were engaged against the Swordsmen, coming out on top over there, of course, while the Ushopti here are now being struck by the Royal Altar of Griffites as well as the Demigryph Knights with halberds. So they're not going to have a fun time, but in comes Cetra the Imperishable as well, causing a fair bit of damage, but of course, he's in a threatening situation here as well. He is large, he does have a lot of armor, but those halberds are going to take care of those guys. In comes some magical support as well, of course. Always a good idea to use magic whenever possible. Both sides trying to use a little bit of magical support. You can see we have Final Transmutation going down once more, just reducing health wherever possible, while in response, Incantation of Desiccation, reducing the attack and melee defense capabilities as these Skeleton Spearmen creep ever closer to the Royal Altar of Griffites and the Demigryph Knights with halberds. Very wonderfully done there. The Skeleton Spearmen, again, can take care of these units, especially with the Incantation of Desiccation active. And here we've got these Empire Knights getting a nice rear charge into these Tomb Guards, trying to slow them down as they try to close the gap to the Free Company Militia back here. They just turn around and keep firing away, while you can see some terror kicking in. Finally, these Demigryph Knights with halberds giving up on the fight over here, while this Hemnian War Sphinx looking for an opportunity to get involved, firing some shots off at Balthazar Gelt, who's trying to keep his distance there, and in comes a wonderful charge, trying to take care of, I think, the swordsman over here, as well as the Royal Ultra Griphites. They're obviously not going to get terrified away, but they will give up on the fight. In comes another Realm of Souls, keeping the Tomb Kings very much alive, very much in the fight here, especially as the Outriders are now slowly running out of ammunition here and there, very low on ammo. Balthazar Gelt using Arcane Conduit, trying to keep magic alive on the battlefield for the Empire. And you can see back here, these Outriders about to have the gap closed by the Chosen of the Gods back here, and then very quickly responding, trying to keep their distance. Obviously, micromanagement is a lot harder when all these melee engagements have started, so the Tomb Kings should have been a lot more aggressive earlier to start causing damage to Empire micromanagement. And you can see terror kicking in across the board. These swordsmen have given up. These Outriders with grenade launchers have given up. Both of these War Sphinxes just having a bit of a dance party over here, working together to eliminate units one at a time. You can see these Tomb Guards as well, pushing in closer, looking for a place to get involved, but unfortunately, no one is able to take care of Balthazar Gelt. The Ushabti with Great Bow are firing away at these Outriders. They're eating some fire as well from the Free Company Militia and the Outriders as well, of course. They may have been better used firing away at leadership. Not really certain about that. Unfortunately, there just isn't enough anti-air among the Tomb Kings to cause enough damage. The Ushabti, though, you can see with Great Bow here falling apart. There's a lot of range fire coming in, but in come the War Sphinxes, both the regular Hemrian War Sphinx and the one that Cetra is atop of, trying to scare these Outriders with grenade launchers off, managing to do so well enough, and then turning around, killing a couple of these swordsmen who were unfortunate enough to walk in that War Sphinx's path. And back here, we've got Cetra giving chase to these Knights of the Blazing Sun, hoping to cause a fair bit of damage there as well. And you can see with that damage comes terror, dropping morale. These guys are giving up on the fight up front as well. These swordsmen do not want to stick around and fight, while these Outriders continue to fire away with their grenades at this War Sphinx. These guys as well back here, these Outriders firing away at the War Sphinx, hoping to take care of that unit and get rid of a very threatening unit from the battlefield. Over here, though, the Ushabti with Great Bow are doing a fair bit of work against the Free Company Militia. They were winning their fight, but ultimately morale drops and they begin to rout. So wonderfully done there. The Free Company Militia have been taken care of on that right flank, but you can see that focus fire on this War Sphinx, hoping to drop its morale, hoping to, again, chip away at the stone construct. It is at critical binding right now. If they can get it crumbling, if they can get it disintegrating, then the Empire will stand a chance. The balance of power right now is in favor of the Empire, but that really doesn't mean much. A couple charges here and there, a little bit of morale damage, some terror can completely flip the battle. We've seen that kind of thing happen in the past. You can see, though, Cetra is pretty low on health as well now. In comes that War Sphinx as well, hoping to provide some support over here as some of these various knights get scared off from the field. Taking a fair bit of damage means they're going to start routing. Balthazar Gelt once again using Arcane Conduit, trying to keep magic alive, looking for the ideal opportunity to use that final transmutation once more to finally finish off some of these units, perhaps while we get another great charge here into the Tomb Guard, and again, just quickly retreating. These guys are out of ammunition now. These guys as well out of ammunition, so a very threatening position that the Empire is in right now. The Outriders are all out of ammo. The Free Company Militia, a couple units here and there, still have a little bit of ammunition left over. They can get some shots in, hope to get some damage done, but of course the War Sphinxes are extremely threatening. Balthazar Gelt also not really able to get engaged in melee, of course, and you can see the War Sphinxes, both with Cetra atop and not, decide to close the gap to the Free Company Militia over here. These guys are going to drop their flags. In comes terror. They're going to shatter completely, but the War Sphinxes don't care. They still want their kills. They get a couple of individuals stopped there, then they turn around and give chase to these Knights of the Blazing Sun, hoping to shut them down as they get a beautiful charge into the Tomb Guard over here, tossing them back against the sort of cusp of that hill. This other unit of Outriders as well, pushing in for a charge of their own, but of course we have those War Sphinxes following through with some charges of their own as well, getting some beautiful rear charges as the Knights of the Blazing Sun try to get out of that very precarious situation. They get tied down. The Tomb Guards, though, they do start to fall apart. In come the swordsmen here as well, hoping to do whatever damage they can do for glory, for Sigmar. They start to surround Cetra the Imperishable, who manages to terrify these Outriders off, these Knights of the Blazing Sun as well, keeping their distance. They do not want to get bogged down over here, but right now the Empire's only hope is to get a full surround and maybe get some magical damage. And you can see the Staff of Valens active as well, increasing the power reserve, increasing magical capabilities over here as these Outriders push in for some charges, for some last-ditch attempts over here. In come the Knights of the Blazing Sun as well for a nice rear charge into Cetra. These Outriders as well pushing in, Cetra doing a fair bit of work. The Tomb Guards fall, and in comes that cast from Balthazar Gelt, doing a fair bit of damage with final transmutation. Wonderfully done there. You can see the War Sphinx over here dropping in health significantly very quickly, but morale is very low among the Empire units still. They could still shatter. Unfortunately, though, the War Sphinx does give up on the fight, and as a result, Cetra decides he's going to perish. And the Empire gets a glorious Pyrrhic victory. Now, impeccable micromanagement and constant back and forth movement was paramount to the success of the Empire in this battle. At the end, it looked like the Tomb Kings were going to turn things around with only a handful of elite units, and they would have been able to had they been more aggressive a little earlier. The perseverance of the Empire and excellently timed charges and retreats meant victory went to Shetland Apache. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. I do think it's one of the best ways to learn, and it's always nice to highlight such amazing plays from the community. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.